different than his family. He said authorities are trying to piece together how Robinson, a high-achieving student, a very normal young man, was radicalized. Clearly, there was a lot of gaming going on. Yeah. A lot of gaming going on. It's the evils of gaming. It's the video games. Do you game so rarely to prevent radicalization? Yes. Friends have confirmed that there was kind of a deep, dark internet and Reddit culture and these other dark places on the internet where this person was going deep. Family members have told reporters that Tyler Robinson had become more political in recent years and had expressed interest in Kirk's visit to the Utah Valley campus on Orem, Utah. Cox said a Robinson family member had told investigators that the accused shooter recently had a conversation in which someone said, who's the someone? Said Kirk was spreading hate, was full of hate, but it was unclear from Cox's remarks who actually made that statement. Dude, this is the worst. What the standard for what is news reporting, what is considered like good news reporting gets increasingly worse every day, man. What the fuck is happening? Like every day, since the shooting took place, there has been massively consequential pieces of misinformation that has been revealed, whether it's that they apprehended the shooter and then they realized it wasn't the shooter, and then they apprehended another person and then they realized that other person wasn't the shooter. Be a little bit more careful. You guys are people in positions of power. This whole let's fucking destroy the institutions, it turns out was a mistake. Okay? You need to have competent people running in positions of power. You need to have people that don't, no matter what their ideology is, okay? No matter what their ideology is, even if they're right wing or left wing, it doesn't matter. In this moment, you're supposed to do your fucking job. And your job requires you to take this seriously, okay? You can't just go out there and be like, I think this guy was trans and was writing trans stuff on his bullets, and then have that literally fall apart with a little bit of scrutiny, only to turn around and be like, well, maybe it was actually his girlfriend that was trans. And that's ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. You can't do that, man. This is people's lives that you're talking about. The ways in which we have found information, information about this story have been genuinely shocking. Like the ATF leak that went to Steven Crowder and then Wall Street Journal confirmed it and then had to retract it because it was half cooked. There wasn't they didn't see any primary materials whatsoever. They just went along with assessments being made without any sort of firm analysis. You cannot, Baba. Oh my God, my dad's phone is so loud, bro, and he doesn't hear it, and it's just ringing. It's just ringing. LGBTQ activists have criticized media outlets for erroneously reporting in the hours after the shooting that a bullet casing from the scene included a message related to transgender people. Kirk, who toured college campuses and challenged progressive students to debate him under a tent that said, "Prove me wrong," was an outspoken opponent of gender-affirming surgeries for minors and transgender athletes competing in women's sports. What they're saying is clearly that Robinson's roommate knew a lot and didn't say anything after the killing, so they're a person of interest officially and are cooperating. A second official said, "We want to keep it that way." Oh.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm Steve Ducey.
I do want to start with some of the
many unanswered questions about the investigation. You told the Wall Street Journal that it is, quote, very clear to us and to the investigators that this was a person who was deeply in.
Crowder claims he got it right and wants you to apologize, Law. Wait, what? Me? Fuck Steven Crowder. The fuck do you mean? We were here. We saw it. Like, the ATF leak was half cooked. It didn't actually feature the actual message at all. The fuck are we talking about? Yemek benimki geldi. Yeah, he got subpoenaed by the ATF. What is he talking about? Information that is pertinent to the investigation, that's important to the investigation, without proper analysis being revealed this way, is baba ver nereye götürüyorsun? Ya ver boş ver. Is literally has contributed to the misinformation environment. There's a reason why the ATF doesn't actually put out preliminary assessments without doing proper analysis.
Indoctrinated with leftist ideology. Can you elaborate on that and be more specific?
Well, sure. So that information comes from the people around him, from his family members and friends. That's how we got that information. Again, there's so much more that we're learning and so much more that we will learn. There will be official charges will be filed on Tuesday, and there will be much more evidence and information available then. And again, we're interviewing all kinds of people, everyone that knows him, and trying to learn more about what that motive actually was.
Well, some outlets are reporting that the suspect lived with a transgender partner. Is that accurate? And are investigators looking at this part of his life as a possible motivation?
Yes, definitely. And yes, I can confirm that. I know that has been reported. And
this is also another part of the problem with the collapse of the institutions, is when you don't know if you can trust them when they say something because they've already fucking fucked it up. Like, when an official government representative tells me something, there has to be an assumption that he is, no matter what his political background is, no matter what his ideology is, I have to assume he is being sincere. I have to assume that he's not operating to score political points against like random subsects of the American population. Do you see what I mean? And when you actually reveal yourself to be biased in this regard, and so biased that you're willing to reveal half-truths or sometimes false information, and you lose that credibility, it makes it much harder to trust this person. It's like the Israel phenomenon. Like, this man straight up said he was praying that the shooter wasn't, one of them. Now, of course, I think he meant like, someone from Utah, but he straight up said he wished the shooter was like, not from the country. Like, I know he meant from Utah, not from Utah, but come on, dude. Yeah, he's like, I pray that the shooter was a black Muslim transgender from Mexico illegally crossing the border. Like, that's an insane thing to say, bro. You're a governor. Like, did you fucking take your position seriously, please? Yeah, motherfucker said he prayed 30 hours for that. Also, something to reconsider. Maybe your prayers don't work, man. I don't know what to tell you.
The FBI has confirmed that as well. that the roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say that that he has been very cooperative. This partner has been incredibly cooperative. Had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
And how is that relevant to the investigation when it comes to the motive? Are you learning that?
Sure. Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Again, it's easy to draw conclusions from that, and so we've got the shell casings, other forensic evidence that is coming in, and trying to piece all of those things together.
You said that the roommate is being very helpful. Has that individual explained to law enforcement what the mindset of the shooter was and whether or not it is connected to his ideology or his situation as transitioning, as you just described?
I'm not sure about not sure about that piece right now, Dan.
What?
Okay, so we're not sure if the fact that he was romantically involved, as you say, with his partner who was transitioning is relevant to the motive of the murder based on the investigation.
Well, sure. Again, all of these things we're trying to figure it out. I know everybody wants to know exactly why and point the finger, and I totally get that. I do too.
Then why are you bringing this shit up, bro? What the fuck? Like, how is this helpful then? He's like, listen, we don't really know. The person who is trans is cooperating, but also don't let that get in the way of us fomenting hatred towards trans people in general. Come on now. Yeah, we can't let a crisis go to waste,
And so I just want to be careful, as I haven't read all of the interview transcripts, and so we'll have to wait and see what comes out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We should all be careful. I guess just because that's out there are a lot of people drawing conclusions, and so I'm just trying to get as many facts as we can glean from you, since you have been involved in the investigation. And on that, the social and gaming platform Discord released a statement saying its servers were in no way involved in Tyler Robinson's alleged plot to assassinate Charlie Kirk. But it did say there were, quote, communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting, where the roommate was recounting the contents of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. Can you tell us about that note that the shooter left?
So I can't yet. Again, those are things that are still being processed for accuracy and verification, and will be included in charging documents.
Okay, so you
Oh, now they want to fucking dial it back. Okay. Not when it comes to speculating about the involvement of the trans roommate, but certainly when it comes to the actual note, can't reveal that. Sorry. That note was written by the white guy who pulled the trigger, by the way, which is crazy.
But the note was found, or the content of the note is known by law enforcement?
Again, I can't share any specifics. They're looking at everything right now.
Understood. I just want to go back to my first question about what you told the Wall Street Journal about that this is a person indoctrinated with leftist ideology. And the reason why I think it would be great to be more specific is because your goal of trying to lower the temperature, you said that this is based on investigation and interviews with people who knew him. Did they just use the term leftist ideology, or did they give specifics?
Yeah, there are conversations that were discussed specifically about Charlie Kirk, other conversations about the direction that this was going. And look, my job is just to tell people I really don't have a dog in this fight. If this was MAGA and a
No, you do, bro. You definitely have a dog in this fight. You have admitted that you have a dog in this fight. You have the biggest dog in the fight. What the fuck? We wouldn't have expected you to have a dog in the fight under different circumstances because you're the governor. Right now, it's very hard for us to assume you don't have a dog in the fight. You said you were praying, man. You were praying, man.
Radicalized MAGA person, I would be saying that as well. If the friends were saying that, I would be sharing that as well. That's not what they're sharing. And so I do think it is important, again, to understand how someone gets radicalized like this. And in this case, it happened with, as much as people wish it wasn't or don't want it to be this, these are the facts that are being presented to us. If there,
I can't believe it. Like, there have been so many high-profile mass shootings, school shootings, children being targeted in this goddamn country by far-right neo-Nazis. We know where they get radicalized. We know how they get radicalized. We know what their worldview looks like. We know what major party they actually are close to ideologically. And yet, for some weird reason, this kind of question is never addressed. Can you perhaps tell me why this kind of question is never addressed when the overwhelming majority of these sorts of high-profile incidents? Bro, you are literally the most fake news guy ever. It's actually insane. You're a liar. Why? Especially in this moment, if you're calling me a liar, then you're saying that my assessment is incorrect. So you're saying the shooter is a Nazi then, because my assessment is the shooter is not likely to be a Nazi. Are you saying that I'm a liar? The shooter is definitely a groyper? Is that what you're saying? I haven't seen enough evidence that the shooter is a groyper. You're talking too fast for them? No, this person is not actually responding to anything that I'm saying. This person is responding to the idea that he's designed in his mind of who I am and what I must be pushing for.
Are additional facts that would point otherwise, but family discussions, parents, this is what they're saying, and these, again, these things happen, and so it's okay to have these discussions.
Listen, absolutely, and I'm just trying to get more facts, more details of the facts that you're putting out there. One last question on that. You just said right now, which is something that you mentioned on Friday, is that he had discussions with family members about Charlie Kirk. Do you have specifics on what he was saying about Charlie Kirk to his family?
Just not a fan. That's all I can say.
Okay, not a specific reason why. McKay Cop.
Wow. You mean to tell me that the guy who shot and killed Charlie Kirk was not a fan of Charlie Kirk? That's great. Thank you. You really gave us a motive there. This clears up a lot of these questions. I was wondering if the guy who shot and killed Charlie Kirk was a fan of his or not.
From The Atlantic is reporting that President Trump called you after your remarks on Friday, and that the president told you, quote, you know, the type of person who would do something like that to Charlie Kirk would love to do it to us. What was your response to the president in that conversation?
Well, it was a long conversation, by the way. We talked about lots of things, but it was very sobering. And again, he's not wrong. I mean, as he knows better than anyone, as someone who literally was injured by a bullet. I mean, a fraction of an inch away from being killed a year ago. He understands that better than anyone. I would also just note that he also mentioned multiple times that he was grateful for the press conference and the message that we shared. And so I'm grateful, you know, that he's talked about nonviolence. He's quoted Charlie Kirk on the nonviolence issue. I understand he's also very angry, and I get that. This is his close personal friend, and anger is a normal reaction.
So he was grateful for the press conference. Others in his orbit, Governor, were not. Steve Bannon talked about you calling to tone down the rhetoric, saying the following, saying Spencer Cox is a national embarrassment in a time where we need action he tells us to sing Kumbaya and hold hands with Antifa. This is not a time for pontificating. This is a time to declare Antifa a domestic terrorist organization and have the FBI go kick down some doors. What's your response to Steve Bannon?
Well, again, Mr. Bannon is angry, and rightfully so. And I'm not saying we have to just sing Kumbaya and hold hands. What I'm saying is we actually should disagree. I think Charlie represented that better than anyone. Charlie said some very inflammatory things, and in some corners of the web, that's all people have heard. But he also said some other things about forgiveness. He said some amazing things about when things get dark, putting down our phones, reading scripture, going to church, talking to our neighbors. He said that we have to engage, and that's what I appreciate most about Charlie Kirk. Said if we don't keep talking, that's when the violence starts. Look, there are conflict entrepreneurs out there who benefit from radicalizing us, and I'm not one of those. I don't know that that's particularly helpful, but he is right at this. We need to find out how this happened, and we need to stop it from happening.
You called social media a cancer on our society. I know you have made talking about social media one of your key issues as governor of Utah. What should or even can government do to cure this cancer, as you call it?
Well, there's some things that we're working on for sure. We have to get phones out of the classroom. We're doing that in Utah. Many states are doing that right now. We have to hold the largest companies in the history of the world with combined $1 trillion market caps. We have to hold them responsible for the algorithms that are pushing us. Again, they're hijacking our agency. They're hijacking our free will with these dopamine hits. Same chemical reaction as fentanyl, getting us addicted to these platforms, and outrage releases a dopamine hit for sure. And they are taking no responsibility for this. In fact, they're suing the state of Utah to stop the most comprehensive social media reforms in the world's history. They're happening right here, and we absolutely have to hold them accountable.
Just real quick, you have said that we're in a dark chapter, and you're not sure if it's the end of a dark chapter or beginning of a darker one. Is your view of America right now shaken?
Yeah, I mean, if your view of America is not shaken right now, then there's something wrong with you. This is a direct assault on America, a direct assault on every single one of us. Of course, it's an assault on Charlie, and we love Erica and her kids and his family. But this is us. And this is our chance. This is our moment. We've had periods like this in the past. I mentioned the late 60s and early 70s. But if we're waiting for a president or a governor to get us out of this dark chapter, then it will never happen. We can't, I don't understand this, again, giving our agency up, waking up every day and saying, well, what did the president say today? That's going to determine how I react. Or what does the governor say today? That makes no sense to me. Every one of us has to look in the mirror and decide, are we going to try to make it better, or are we going to make it worse? And I pray that God will help us find him again and find our souls and find each other again.
Governor, thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dana.
Have you watched the wife's speech yet? I have. I was planning on not doing it because I feel like it's just very strange, but here, we'll watch.
Full military honors. They brought him home to Arizona. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, comforted on the tarmac by Usha Vance, the vice president's wife. She later posted this video of her husband's open coffin.
I love you so much. I love you.
Vowing that the global movement he built would never die.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea.
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Police have removed a car from the home of the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, a neighbour revealing that she came face-to-face with him shortly after he's alleged to have carried out the shooting.
Looking over, seeing that he was limping, kind of being like, oh, okay. And then long black shirt, kind of thinking that's kind of weird. It's kind of super hot outside. It's kind of odd. I don't know. Like, now that I think about it, it's just very, like, chilling to me.
The killing of the conservative influencer who championed Donald Trump highlights the depth of division here. 83-year-old Marty has been protesting outside the White House for 7 years. He was no fan of Charlie Kirk, but longs for peaceful discourse.
I disagree with him on so many things. And certainly if he had been my neighbor, I would never have invited him to dinner nor accepted an invitation from him. Find him a reprehensible man, but political violence can only lead to political violence. There is no other outcome possible. And so killing somebody like him, absolutely unacceptable and absolutely the wrong direction for this country.
This has been described as a moment of reckoning for America, a potential watershed. But real change would require a tempering of the rhetoric by both sides, a commitment to the norms of political debate. And there are many who say that starts right here, at the top. A family is grieving for a husband and father. The vice president is mourning a close personal friend. And America is confronting, yet again, the cost of polarizing politics. David Blevins, Sky News in Washington.
In the wake of the murder of Charlie Kirk, celebrated in death for his embrace of freedom.
Dude, I can't get over the fact that like Democratic legislators were assassinated in their homes like what, 2 months ago? And there was no conversation. It was like literally only there was a point of contention. There was a conversation about political violence because for like the first couple of hours, they just cynically claimed that the shooter was a leftist. And then as soon as we found out that the shooter was right-wing, it went away. I can't believe it. It almost feels like the media design, the media landscape design here is like, if you are right-wing, you're a person, you're a human. If you're leftist, liberal, Democrat, doesn't matter. You're just not a human. Like you get killed and it's not even a fucking footnote. Trump doesn't even show up to your funeral, calls you kooky, says you got lies about like why you got killed. Literally says like, oh, you did this to yourself. And then we just move on. For the last 24 hours, when there was a fucking back and forth about whether or not this person was like a Nazi or something, when it came out that he was like a, conservative, came from a conservative family, good stock, that type of shit, I thought the story was going to go away. But now that they found a way to slam trans and leftists back into the conversation, it's back again. It feels like it's so clearly one directional. Like whose deaths we must mourn versus whose deaths we overlook. If it is a right-wing neo-Nazi shooter that is doing the 100th school shooting, you overlook that because it's just, who knows? Mental health. If there is even a likelihood that the shooter might be trans, though, we got to talk about that because, God damn it, is the left is so fucking violent. I don't know. It's so strange. It's so fucking strange.
Freedom of speech in life, tensions over speech are flaring. Utah Governor Spencer Cox on Friday calling for calm.
Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life.
But in the wake of Kirk's death, online fury indeed, and swift reaction to it. 2 faculty members at East Tennessee State University, among several in academia facing backlash, placed on administrative leave following complaints about their online comments. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis' education commissioner issued a warning to teachers making disgusting comments about the shooting. Writing in a memo, I will be conducting an investigation of...
This is literally what Republicans, once again, used to complain about the quote-unquote left. Liberals and leftists, cancel culture, free speech. They hate it. And it's so interesting to me that on the one hand, they're like, Charlie Kirk was a free speech icon. While on the other hand, they're just like bashing you in the head with this inconsistency where they're like, how dare you exercise free speech against a free speech icon like this? We're gonna fucking cancel you. Like, how, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I've seen so many interesting takes online about this where people will be like, people just say shit that I would never say because they're like, oh, we should do a free speech circle at every college campus in honor of Charlie Kirk. And then someone will cold retweet it and say something that I'm not even going to fucking say out loud because I don't want to get clipped because everybody's trying to fucking cook me. But it's so strange that like people are like, they made a doxing website, like a Canary Mission, Israel style doxing website. Now you make me Spanish rather than this. Watch them. They made a doxing website to identify anyone who hasn't like sufficiently mourned or grieved Charlie Kirk. And they got 20,000 names and their addresses and shit on said website. And they're claiming that these people actually contributed to Charlie Kirk dying.
Every educator who engages in this
no shot that's true. Huh. It sounds incredible, right? It sounds insane, right? Except it's not. It's real. That's a real thing that they did. Microsoft tweeted, we are aware of the views expressed by a small subset of our employees regarding recent events. We take matters like this very seriously, and we're currently reviewing each individual situation. Comments celebrating violence against anyone are unacceptable and do not align with our values.
And my name is...
What is this? Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm first on the website of the North American far right is using target people that celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. There's one problem. I never did that.
Currently first on a website claiming to expose Charlie Kirk's murderers. You might be wondering how I got here. I'm kind of wondering that too. I already told this story to Wired, but let me tell it to you now in my own words. Because for the last 2 days, I've been getting messages like this nonstop, claiming to know where I live and saying they're coming for me. Now, what did I say to deserve all of this? Let's go to the website and read the screenshots that they included of me celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. I said I was terrified to think of how far-right fans of Kirk, aching for more violence, could very well turn this into an even more radicalizing moment. Will they now believe their fears have been proven right and feel they have a right to retaliate regardless of who actually was behind the initial shooting? That analysis came from the fact that I am an experienced journalist who has extensively covered right-wing extremism. That's also why, by the way, a lot of people hate me and want to shut me up. And I was immediately proven right. Many far-right personalities are using this as an excuse to agitate and retaliate against their political enemies. That includes former conservative leader Andrew Scheer, because this is where it all started for me. The hate massively escalated when former conservative leader and sitting currently conservative MP Andrew Scheer took my words and called me twisted and said I have so much hate in me. Pierre Poilievre's wife also boosted this post. Then things got even worse when I got a DM from a friend of mine telling me about this website. She sent me the link, and at first I thought she must have sent me the link to the direct post about me on this website. But then I double-checked the link and I realized this was the homepage. My name was first. And then things exploded. The flood of threats turned into a tsunami. And as it escalated, I shared that I was scared. Then several massive American right-wing accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers took a screenshot of that.
Bro, that is like, they proved her right, dude. They were like, yeah, wait till you see how right your initial assessment was, which is ironic because we're mad about your initial assessment. Well, okay, then don't prove it right, you fucking psycho. The problem with this kind of behavior online is that they actually love crying as they hit you, you know? That's it. Do not go on that website. There's probably a bunch of different malware and keyloggers, IP trackers and shit on that website, for the record.
And shared it saying I deserved it without showing what I actually said. And suddenly I was like the face of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, even though that literally never happened. And it's made the last 48 hours of my life a living hell. Every single person who's ever disliked me is using this as a chance to get their pound of flesh. But this is the part I really want you to hear. It's not just me. There are tons of people listed on this site who aren't public figures, who have never dealt with this before, and I am terrified for them. Some of the posts on this website are private messages. People are snitching on folks in their lives. And if they've received what I've received in the last 48 hours, which I'm sure they have, I'm so—
This is like 2016 Trump's first election. No, Republicans were never this. Republicans in 2016 were yelling at the liberals because the institutions were still like slanted in the direction of liberalism. This is a totally new phenomena. Republicans used to cry and complain about this kind of shit, where now they're doing it. It's the same as Republicans talk about cancel culture or like for years and years saying like, oh, Democrats hate free dissemination of information. They hate free speech, while simultaneously turning around and being like, things are woke, things are CRTs, things are DEI. We have to delete them. That is a real initiative to change American history, and it's a successful one. Just like when these guys go, Charlie Kirk was a free speech champion. How dare you use your free speech to criticize him in the aftermath of his untimely demise? You need to be punished. You need to lose your freedom.
so worried about them. People are out for blood right now. And there are people out there who are using this moment irresponsibly to serve up their perceived political enemies as a sacrifice. And for what? They're just proving me right. And I just really hope no one makes good on these threats, because I now have to live as if they might.
Ted Cruz posted this. Oh my God, what the fuck is, dude, the AI. What? Criticizing someone does not equal celebrating their death? You keep repeating this? What you on about, bro? Are you talking to me? I never said criticizing someone is an equal to celebrating their death. They're the ones who are saying that. Republicans are saying that. They're conflating the two. There's perhaps no better. I mean, look at whose community you're in, okay? I never celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. As a matter of fact, I was pretty shook by it. And obviously, I would never advocate for violence against a political enemy, especially Charlie Kirk, even from ideological points of view. I don't believe that this is the appropriate measure. But also outside of that, I'd be putting myself in the fucking crosshairs too. So even from a self-preservation perspective, you should understand, like, nobody who's going to go sit next to fucking Charlie Kirk on a debate stage is going to be advocating for him to be assassinated, right? But that hasn't changed people's minds. They're consistently saying over and over again that, like, I did this, my community did this, I've advocated for this, and there needs to be some kind of punishment.
Sanctionable behavior. Govern yourselves accordingly. The fallout also appearing in corporate America. Delta Airlines announcing it suspended several employees over their social media posts. Office Depot firing a Michigan employee who called a poster for a Kirk vigil propaganda and refused to print it. The company apologizing, saying in a statement, the behavior displayed by our associate is completely unacceptable and insensitive. The response also in the federal government, a Secret Service agent put on administrative leave with an investigation underway following comments described as inappropriate. Tonight, a line being drawn over discourse.
You should be allowed to say outrageous things. You should be.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about this shit too? Like, brother, half the time people are yelling at others who are not celebrating Charlie Kirk's death or anything like that, but simply saying this is what he believed and putting his quotes on. People are getting fired for posting Charlie Kirk quotes. What the fuck? Like, what are we doing? You're gonna, like what the hell? There are mad people getting fired right now, left and right, after these, like, the conservative outrage machine is in full tilt, okay? Going nutty mode on the timeline. I said, these guys are talking about how much they love Charlie Kirk's free speech and then demanding people get fired for posting his direct quotes. Meet U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Ladnier, the Provost Marshal of Fort Eustis, Virginia. He has thoughts about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and they don't seem in the least sympathetic. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Charlie Kirk. MLK was awful, Kirk said. He's not a good person. He said one good thing he actually didn't believe. Charlie Kirk, December 2023. The Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon. Charlie Kirk, March 2025. I don't like the word empathy. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. Also, Charlie Kirk. It's just quotes. Like, Charlie Kirk's assessment on this, if sincere, is that, like he said, you could say outrageous shit. Like, you could literally celebrate, as he did with, like, George Floyd and numerous other people. You should be able to unironically celebrate it and not see any repercussions for it. That's his worldview. That's not even my worldview. You know what I mean? But these guys aren't even doing that. These guys are just simply showing quotes, which is good. Like, you know, that's not even what these people are doing, right? He never celebrated, you liar. He never celebrated what? Isn't that not your view, though? So why are you saying, yeah, free speech means you don't go to jail, not people don't think you're a horrible person or an idiot? Dumbass. We're talking about the fucking American government taking action against people who they have perceived as political enemies by using what happened to Charlie Kirk as the spark. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't give a fuck about, like, people's distaste or anger. Who's gone to jail? Are you going to be outside of the jail when it happens? Are you going to be protesting? What do you mean, who's gone to jail? I'm talking about what the president has said so far, you fucking baboon. What the fuck do you mean, who's gone to jail? That's what the president said. Take it up with him. Why are you yelling at me? Stephen Miller said we're going to hit a RICO charge on anybody that's ever exhibited what they consider to be bad opinions, and you're over here yelling at a fucking Twitch streamer. Oh. So somebody said that, nothing has happened. Listen, dipshit, you can't say somebody when that somebody that we're talking about is the fucking president, and the other is like one of the most notable the administration's most notable advisor, Stephen Miller. What the fuck do you mean somebody? Also, this administration has already put people in jail for their speech. Mahmoud Khalil comes to mind. Do you remember? For criticizing Israel. I'm sure you didn't have a lot of issues with that either, because ultimately you don't have any sort of serious principle that you're fucking abiding by. This screenshot at post makes no criticism held. This could be a fancifully quoting his favorite lines. Charlie was such a fucked up guy that quoting him implicitly reads as trying to make him look bad. That's deeply sad. This was his life's work. Own it. If Obama said we're going to war with the right, we are going to dismantle all right-wing organizations that arrest those right-wing terrorists, the right would be up in arms. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Many of the quotes are out of context, though. I feel like sharing them like this is weird. Okay, here's a quote that's not out of context. When Charlie Kirk was asked, you have a 10-year-old daughter, okay? If she was raped, would you carry a pregnancy to term because of your anti-abortion stance? His answer was yes, okay? That was not out of context. He just straight up said, yes. That's the level that he was willing to ride or die for his worldview. He said, yes, the child will be delivered. So one must ask the question, why? Like, why do you find yourself going, oh, these are out of context? Because there are instances where people get clipped out of context. Like, for example, the empathy quote, he said on numerous occasions. On some occasions, he follows that up by saying he actually cares about sympathy, but that's for a different day, for example. Or in certain instances, because he said the empathy thing a lot. He said that it was, invented by Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, I believe. Like, there have been a million different places where he said this, and sometimes he follows that up with, I have compassion, and we should have compassion. Okay, so in that regard, you could say, oh, it's out of context. Okay, your time on this platform is numbered. Oh my God. Once again, this is deplatforming. It's a separate thing. This is not free speech, right? Free speech is when the government intervenes in speech, which the government is intervening in speech. So when I talk about like Donald Trump or Stephen Miller talking about prosecuting political dissidents for their speech, that's what I'm talking about. That's actually anti-free speech. When we talk about cancel culture, okay, when we talk about cancel culture and this kind of like deplatforming initiatives, this is another thing that the Republicans have routinely criticized and yelled about, and Charlie Kirk has done so as well. Do you understand? Republicans are doing that now, and they've never really stopped doing that, but they're doing it a lot more aggressively now. They just keep crying and going, your days are numbered. You need to be banned. You need to be banned. Why? Because you misunderstood something, or you got inflamed, you got whipped up into a frenzy to believe that I've said things that I don't actually believe. Is that what happened? That's it. This guy just posted quotes, though. It seems like just posting the quotes implies he thinks because he said X is fine that he died. First of all, that's your assessment of the situation. Okay? That's your assessment of the situation. That's not what he said. But even if he fucking implied that, you're adding that assessment onto it, assuming that he implied that, okay? He could very easily feel that political violence is completely unacceptable, as do I, right? He could feel like Charlie Kirk did not deserve this, as did I, but simultaneously make an accurate assessment of his worldview in the process. He didn't say any other words. The reason you have to ask yourself, okay, why do you feel this way? Why do you feel like this makes Charlie Kirk look bad? If these are positions that he's had, and these are positions he has defended on college campuses, but now when you look back at it and it makes you feel bad, ask yourself why. And I know, I mean, this is an issue that hits close to home for me because I say incendiary shit all the time too, especially in my most passionate moments. Okay? If there was a role reversal, everybody would be talking about how a terrorist has been taken out, a one that loved 9/11 and wants to do more 9/11. Now that is an improper assessment of my words. But if they were to say America deserved 9/11, that'd be a quote. Do you understand? Does that quote reveal the full extent of my worldview or what I implied when I was talking about that? No, of course not. I was talking about the concept of blowback. But this statement, the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast is now turned into an anti-white weapon. This is something that he did believe. This is like, even if there is more to there's more nuance to it, the nuance is still in the direction of Charlie Kirk not being misconstrued here, but simply not being able to fully defend his position of how white people are under attack in the aftermath of the Civil Rights Act. Do you get it? Out of context for a quote only works if within context the meaning of those words or the direction of those words change. Okay? If the meaning and the direction of the words don't change with additional context, then it's apt. It's just an abbreviated version. That's the difference. So if you feel as though these things do not look in a positive light, do not leave you feeling positively about Charlie Kirk, then you probably don't agree with Charlie Kirk. You've just conditioned yourself into thinking that you agree with his worldview, but you probably don't. Do you understand? Even the example I used earlier, the one that like Elon Musk keeps highlighting, where I'm talking about like Democrats need to be way more vicious. They need to be shanking their opponents in the debate stage, right? That's not a real call to action. I'm using a metaphor in that regard to say Democrats need to become more aggressive and actually fight back on the debate stage. I'm talking about literally a debate, right? But they clipped it in a way to make it seem as though I'm saying Democrats need to like kill their political opposition. They need to like stab and kill their political opposition. That is a great example of something being out of context. Yeah, it was the Warnock-Walker debate that I was talking about. these quotes are out of context, though, then explain why and how. Because I know Charlie Kirk's worldview very well. I've debated him, and I know what he believes. I've talked about his views on a million different occasions. We both rose to prominence at the same time in our respective sides of the ideological spectrum. And these things are not out of context. Like when Charlie Kirk was taking an anti-MLK tone, that was real. That was a deliberate, that wasn't like he loved MLK, actually. And he was just simply saying like, MLK actually, you know, when he says MLK was awful, Kirk said, he's not a good person. He said one good thing he actually didn't believe. So when you actually look at that quote, do you think he was saying actually MLK is awful at playing basketball or something? You think that's what he was talking about? And that's why the context is actually totally removed from this situation? MLK was awful. Yeah, MLK was awfully good at speaking. And then they ripped the last part and they just kept MLK was awful. Or do you feel like you kind of agree with his worldview, but when it's laid bare in front of you, you just have a hard time with it? No, I literally highlighted it. I didn't steal the joke, chatter. I highlighted it.
Be allowed to say contrarian things.
In the wake of the assassination of a man who defended it. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
We thank you for watching. And
well, this week's fruitcake is president-elect of the Oxford Union, the world's leading debating society. His name is George Aberronye. He debated against Charlie Kirk back in May.
So, of course, you have the agency to do that. With all due respect, have you been to London the last 10 years? Men can do whatever they want.
I live in London.
Are they happier? Men can dress how they want. Men can act how they want. They can go to any club. Has it worked?
Yeah, but also we've had austerity. There are other factors outside of simply just.
Do you see what you're doing? Respectfully, you're scrambling for an excuse to get away from.
Like this one is one of the worst videos of like the outrage that has been manufactured in the aftermath. New Arizona sports outlet Phoenix Sports has fired lead Phoenix Suns reporter Gerald Bourguet. I don't know how you say his last name. After he questioned why outrage over right-wing activist Charlie Kirk's killing was louder than outrage over school shootings, mass deportations, or the hundreds of videos of horrific murders in Gaza, which Kirk cheered on. Phoenix, in a statement, said the network takes matters involving violence very seriously and had parted ways with Bourguet to keep its community a safe place. Gerald Bourguet was not endorsing violence, but was urging readers to apply the same moral standard to all killings. He wrote, "To many of you who are more concerned with being polite and appearing to be good people rather than showing some damn backbone and standing on the principle to condemn hate, the network did not explain how his comments made Phoenix less safe." Bourguet's case joins a wave of recent firings and suspensions, including an MSNBC Bourguet's case joins a wave of recent firings and suspensions, including an MSNBC analyst, a FEMA employee, a Carolina Panther staffer, over commentary on Kirk's death. Explain to me how this is unacceptable. Political differences are not the same thing as spewing hateful rhetoric on a daily basis, and refusing to mourn a life devoted to that cause is not the same thing as celebrating gun violence. Just so we're 100% clear on that. He was a father. Half of y'all didn't give a damn about doing anything to stop gun violence when the victims of mass shootings were literal children. And those kids weren't bigots spreading genocidal propaganda or a mindset he directly fed into with this holy grail of ironies. If you're saddened by today's political violence, horrified by the video, or repulsed by my response, ask yourself why your reaction was different when it came to school shootings, mass deportations, or the hundreds of videos of horrific murders in Gaza, which Kirk cheered on. Truly don't care if you think it's insensitive or poor timing to decline the respect an evil man who died. Too many of you are more concerned with being polite and appearing to be good people rather than showing some damn backbone and standing on principle to condemn hate. Don't you think that quoting someone like Charlie Kirk in a way that paints them in a strongly negative light by not providing context, if it is out of context, if something is truly out of context, and you try to frame someone in a hyper negative light, you are trying to either tarnish their reputation, smear them, or in the most maximalist position, even potentially trying to get people to engage in violent actions against them. Yes, this is true. But you have to prove how Charlie Kirk was being taken out of context in these instances and how this was not his worldview at all. Was Charlie Kirk pro-Civil Rights Act? If the answer is no, then it's not out of context, okay? If Charlie Kirk has Charlie Kirk said that he would be worried about a black pilot, is that out of context or is that actually in context? I mean the gun take mostly. Oh, you mean this one? Charlie Kirk says gun deaths unfortunately worth it to keep the Second Amendment. Did he say that or did he not say that? He said there are people who die in society all the time. 40,000 people a year died to vehicular accidents. Okay, I know the actual quote. He said there are a lot of people who die due to gun violence. Is that unfortunate? Yes. But that is worth it to keep the Second Amendment. He said the risks outweigh the results. So how is the additional context that I just offered you changing what he just said? Unless you believe it is worth it, like all the gun deaths are worth it to keep the Second Amendment, which many people do believe, right? Many people do believe. Charlie Kirk certainly believed it. What doesn't make sense in this circumstance is like if you believe it and Charlie believed it and you argue for it and Charlie argued for it, why are you saying it's out of context? I don't agree with the gun take. I'm European. I just feel like demonizing right-wing figures leads to these situations. Dog, you're the one who is adding the demonic tint to Charlie Kirk's statement. Do you not understand this? Okay? There are tens of millions of Americans that listened to Charlie Kirk say that and went, I love this take. What a wonderful take. I'm going to repeat this take. I believe it. Charlie Kirk certainly was one of those people who believed it. It's not like he went back and said, actually, I was misunderstood. I think we should eradicate gun violence. I think we need some reasonable gun control. He didn't say that. He said, violence is a constant. It's going to happen. Okay? And if that's what it takes, you know, if violence keeps happening with guns, it is what it is. That's a price I'm willing to take. I'm willing to have gun violence as long as I can keep my guns. So if you hear someone's opinion like this, okay, it's additionally funny because you're fucking European, but you hear someone's opinions like this being reflected on and you feel like it's poor, like you feel like this doesn't actually look good, then you've made that assessment in your mind. Now, are there instances where people actually actively try to lie about a person's position? Yes, there are. Okay? There are. It happens to me all the time. I'm sure it happens to Charlie as well, or it happened to Charlie as well in the past, right? It happens to right-wingers, it happens to left-wingers. It's an unfortunate part of this process, okay? But it is up to you to make that honest assessment and make up your own mind. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, the appropriate thing to do here is to lie about a person's positions, to lie about their advocacy. I feel like it's distasteful. It's a disservice to their political output. One last question. Do you think throwing the word fascist has gone too far? No. The fuck? What? No, of course not. Dude, you're in the chat of a person who gets called a fucking terrorist every day. What do you mean? Okay? There's actual violence against those who are declared terrorists. There is no violence against those who are declared fascists, okay? Historically, yes. Contemporary society, fuck no. If someone is behaving like a fascist, of course you have to call that out. What good is any assessment of history if we're not going to use it to interpret modern day events? Okay? That's it. Are you for or against gun control? I'm for gun control. You know what's really funny? If you want to see the term fascist being utilized inappropriately, look to every right-wing commentator, including but not limited to Charlie Kirk, when they're living under a Democratic leadership. Okay? Donald Trump has called the Democrats fascists. Charlie Kirk has done the same. Okay? That's what's so funny about it. These guys will be like, oh man, I can't believe you're calling my mass deportation policies. My mass deportation policies that harken back to the darkest chapters of global history, the Holocaust, you're calling them correctly fascist. That is really fucked up. You're doing violence against me. Yeah, here, look.
American politics today is between these far-left fascists led by Harris and her group. We have a fascist person running who's incompetent. She's a Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist. She's not actually a socialist. She's gone past that. Somebody's got to explain this woman. This is a radical left Marxist, communist, fascist.
It's just so fucking stupid. It's so stupid. There is no consistency, no honesty in our discourse, man. Yeah. This entire campaign to cancel and get fired every person who says something critical of Charlie Kirk after his assassination is clearly something the right has the power to do, just as the left had the power to do it to people who offended them at the height of cancel culture. It was wrong then when the left did it, and it's wrong now that the right is doing it. You either believe in debate and free speech in the First Amendment or you don't. Clearly, very few people believe in that anymore. The problem for those of you who reject that founding idea is that the only other alternative is violence, and that's absurd. We're not resolving our conflict violently. It's just not possible. So go ahead and reproduce this new right-wing cancel culture to replace left-wing cancel culture. Now, the reason why I don't agree with Ryan Grimm here entirely, sometimes he is a little boomer-coded, is because there's never been a moment in American history where the right has not celebrated cancel culture. Everybody does it, but the right is also very good at marketing. They do it, and while they're in the process of doing it, they claim it's just the left's doing. And that actually stuck for a very long time, okay? That actually stuck for a very long time. There has never been historic left-wing movements against curbing speech. Never. Whether it be McCarthyism, which was, again, a government-sanctioned operation directly in violation of the First Amendment, or whether it be making it illegal for a card-carrying communist to be a union leader, for example, right? I believe, was it Taft-Hartley that made it so? Or whether it be whether it be taking out directly and engaging in an interception and subversion for left-wing revolutionary movements in the height of the civil rights struggle, or going after dissidents that spoke out against the war on terror, for example. There has never been a moment where these real incursions, these real measures that the government has taken that is in violation of the First Amendment has ever been directionally applied by left-wing governments against right-wing dissidents. That has never happened. It's always one direction, okay? And if we're talking about cancel culture, which is a different thing, right? If we're talking about the First Amendment, that's different. That's the government, right? The government doing something, the government penalizing speech, the government creating a chilling effect on speech by stopping demonstrations from taking place, for example, right? That is the First Amendment. That's a violation of the First Amendment, whether it be the current active anti-BDS legislation that exists in 38 states in the United States of America, where you can be fired from your job for ever engaging in the peaceful act of demanding boycotts, demanding sanctions, or demanding divestments from the state of Israel, a foreign state. That is illegal in 38 states. You can be fired, okay? Whether it be that or all these other initiatives where the government tries to actively suppress speech. It's never been directionally left-wing, okay? Its targets have always been left-wing movements, progressive movements, socialist movements, communist movements, and it's always been pushed by right-wingers, okay? On the other side, if we're going to talk about cancel culture, okay, even on the cancel culture front, in terms of trying to actively suppress certain things from being talked about, right-wingers are very successful with that too. They always have been. Even at the heat of the cancel culture of the left, where the left was like chirping at people on Twitter trying to get them fired or whatever, right? The right never stopped manufacturing outrage. The right never stopped manufacturing outrage, farming outrage against those who they consider to be political dissidents. They never stopped book burnings. They never stopped book cancellations. They've always done this. I noticed that as the right wing keeps trying to cancel you the past week, you actually have more viewers on now. No, that's only because there is like a lot of attention on this issue and people want to hear what my take is. Okay? That's not violence. No, it's not. We're talking about the hypocrisy of right-wingers talking about how they abhor cancel culture while participating in it and celebrating it against their ideological opponents. I'll give you one great example. I have never advocated for Asmongold to be banned off this platform for a multitude of different horrifying shit that he's said, for things that he's advocated for that I find to be morally repugnant. I've never demanded it. Asmongold, between me and him, for right-wingers, is seen as the free speech champion, right? He has demanded that I get deplatformed basically every single day that he has live streamed since Donald Trump became president. Every single fucking day. I've not once, even after he said the genocide thing, I did not demand that he get deplatformed or banned off this platform because I know that that kind of shit is only going to be awful for me in the long run as well, because as someone who is a leftist, I have a lot of opinions that are considered not great by those in positions of power, both the liberals on the Democratic side and also the Republican side alike. Asmongold has demanded that not only do I get deplatformed, he's demanded I get arrested. He's demanded that I get investigated by the federal government. He is celebrated when that has taken place. So how can you tell me that's actually a real fucking free speech advocate? How can you tell me that he hates cancel culture? That's it. This is the inconsistency. I cry as I strike you. This is how the right operates. Okay? With so many people calling for you to be deplatformed, why do you think you've avoided it happening? Because I play by the rules. Relax, buddy. I don't want to hear what your take is. I'm trying to wait for Clint Stevens to go online. Okay, well, good luck with that, buddy. That's never going to happen. Because I play by the rules. Also, I have been suspended before on this platform for, you know, understandable reasons, but I've also been deplatformed on Twitch for ridiculous reasons as well. Like when I got fucking okay, be for real. I am being for real. Good luck. You're never. That's not happening. Slap on the wrist. Wait, what do you mean? That's what the platform issues. I'm sorry. Slap on the wrist. What the fuck should the platform have done when they caved to insane right-wing cries about how I called someone a cracker bitch? They gave me 7 days for that. Do you feel like that was a slap on the wrist? How long should I have been banned for calling someone a cracker ass bitch? Forsen got banned for 30 days. What the fuck does that got to do with me? Did Forsen get banned for saying cracker for that? Really? Okay, well, take it up with the platform. That's fucking ridiculous. Wait, what do you mean? For that 0? He got banned for 30 days for showing animal porn. I think when that happened, I literally talked about how this was not his fault as well, by the way, which is ironic because like Forsen fans will somehow make that my fault for some weird reason. Like they unironically think I have control over who gets banned and who doesn't get banned on this platform. There have been many instances where like someone has gotten banned because he clicked on, Forsen clicked on a fucking GIF, if we're talking about that. He clicked on a fucking GIF that literally was, I think it was like something different, and then it turned into a GIF of a horse cock, and he got banned for it. And I, at the time, I remember, you know, I thought that was ridiculous because he got baited into clicking on a link. Like it's not his fucking fault. Someone else linked him a GIF that turned into horse cock. But does that matter to that chatter? No, because he's just trying to fucking deflect because deep down inside, he thinks I have control over who gets banned and who doesn't. And I only get hands on the wrist. What did he say? I don't care about cracker, but the Hamas takes deserve 30 for sure. Well, good thing you don't get to fucking issue these bans, you dumb fuck. What do you mean the Hamas take deserves 30? Do you not realize you're doing the thing that I'm talking about? Right-wingers who unironically talk about how they're champions of fucking free discourse, turning around and being like, I don't like your free discourse. I don't like the thing that you said, so you should be fucking banned for 30 days. You're a goddamn idiot. What the fuck do you mean the Hamas take? Which take? That rapes happening on October 7th do not justify genocide? You think that's a take that I should be banned for? Are you fucking psychotic? Hey, mods, please ban this guy for 30 days because he hurt my feelings. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. I didn't understand what he was saying. When you said they're necessary evil, wait, you think that? You think, no, I didn't say they're necessary evil. I said that they are the lesser evil in comparison to Israel, which is doing a genocide. That's a take that I stand by. It's been reported on numerous times on Fox News and everywhere else. Okay? Of course, someone has to resist against a genocidal apartheid state. What the fuck are we talking about? Thank God people are not making these fucking idiotic decisions and these idiotic assessments over there in the halls of power inside of Twitch. Okay? Asmongold straight up said that Palestinians are inferior people that deserve genocide. He got 14 days for that. Okay? 14 days for saying that. Can you imagine a world where I would say the same, but for Israel? I'm not even going to entertain the reverse hypothetical because I don't want someone to clip me out of context and act like I believe that. Okay? Do you understand? Also, once again, I've been banned more times than all of your favorite fucking edgy streamers. So that's what's hilarious about this process, where people will be like, you just get slaps on the wrist. Bro, I get banned more than your favorite fucking gamers that love using gamer words and shit, okay? Just to be clear, I agree with you on a lot of things, but the Hamas takes I disagree with. Okay, well, that doesn't matter, does it? How are people like this real? I've only ever watched stuff on YouTube, but Twitch chat is something else. Is all you have? No, you didn't. Yeah, he doesn't have any clip or anything like that. He couldn't even find a fucking clip out of context that he could like present here to be like, well, this is what you said. Anyway, I'm glad that your misunderstandings about my positions are not enough for Twitch to be like, time to ban this guy for 30 fucking days. But if you're wondering why I don't get banned, it's not because I have like some kind of blackmail over the fucking Twitch moderators, or because I'm Dan Clancy's favorite content creator or whatever, because once again, I've been banned more times than most of your favorite content creators on this platform, regardless. Okay? But the real reason is because I play ball. I do. I try to stay to the best of my ability, even when I'm talking about hot button issues, within the confines of the existing terms of service. That's it. And anyone who tries to fucking present an alternative reality to you is actually lying and relying on your lack of interest in finding out the fucking truth. Okay? That's it. One of the best examples is like people will turn around and be like, bro, Hassan was waving a gun around. He was like threatening. He was threatening somebody. He wanted to kill somebody. He's not only going to get banned for sure off of Twitch, but he's actually going to go to prison forever. Okay, that's what the motherfuckers were saying. It didn't happen. Then they went, oh, he must have blackmail on, I guess, the law enforcement that refused to take action. Or maybe it was because someone was issuing a death threat against me and I waved my fucking airsoft gun, not a real gun, a fake one, and said, good luck. That would be a little ridiculous, right? Don't you think? Anyway, the very same people that fucking celebrated when Moist Critical did the exact same thing to Sneeko, all of a sudden had a different opinion when it was me.
The truth that's right in front of you. I mean, maybe men should get married and have children. Okay, but I think because it's worked for 2,000 years.
I just think it's a very
But after Charlie Kirk's murder, he sent to a group chat, let's effing go, Charlie Kirk got shot, LOL. Imagine that. Celebrating the death of someone you once looked in the eyes of and debated. Charlie Kirk represented the spirit of free speech the Oxford Union was founded to uphold. For the president-elect to be celebrating his death is nothing short of disgraceful, and it exposes the deeper rot that has infected our universities. Here's George arguing that some institutions should be destroyed by any means necessary.
And this is a view I wholeheartedly agree with. The view that some institutions are too broken, too regressive, too oppressive to be reformed. Like cancers of our society, they must and they should be taken down by any means necessary.
The fact that he was ever elected as president is a stain on the union's reputation. But I guess it proves going to a fancy uni doesn't make you wise. But there is a silver lining. At least 200 Life members have already pledged their support for a motion of no confidence. So let's hope they can restore sanity at the Oxford Union.
A controversy brewing at the University of Miami.
Why is this news, bro? The dude had his group chat leaked. He's like the fucking president-elect of a student debate club. They didn't even show what institution he wanted to dismantle by any means necessary. Okay, I don't even know what institution he's talking about. But can you imagine? It's like saying, well, this guy had some crazy views and said that we must incarcerate or maybe even engage in the death penalty for people who've done nothing wrong. And then you see the video and he's like, yeah, we got to do the death penalty on these guys. And then it clips out the part where he's like, these guys that are, pedophiles or something. Like, you don't know. I don't know what institution he's talking about. It could be the fucking banks. It could be the Department of Education, or it could be, I don't know, the fucking War Department, the Department of War. It's just like the whole point of spirited debate is understanding what his fucking position is, Yeah, he could be talking about fucking Hamas for all we know. Or nor. It's just always one directional, dude. It's always one directional. Charlie Kirk and virtually every other Republican has been like, oh, good riddance. George Floyd sucked. They made fun of him over and over again, which is so crazy because like the only reason why he became a public figure and a rallying cry was because he got killed. Right? Like, that's the whole point. He became a figurehead for a movement that tried to address the disproportionate targeting and execution of black people in the hands of the police, right? That's it. And people never let that go. They loved complaining about that shit. They loved the crying about it, making jokes about it, hyper obsessive. Okay, hyper obsessive about like George Floyd. They slam that shit onto everything still to this day because it was one of the few instances where like a police officer was actually charged with murder. And yet people that don't reach that standard when talking about Charlie Kirk are currently getting fucking canned from their positions. The standard is just so distorted. It's just so one-sided.
A scientist connected to the school has been fired after posting about Charlie Kirk's death. Let's get to Local 10's Byron Tollefson. He joins us live in Miami with more.
Yeah, University of Miami's medical school calling this faculty member's comments unacceptable in announcing they're now off the job.
A University of Miami medical school neurologist fired. The U of M confirming it terminated an employee. The Miami Hurricane, the student newspaper, identifying that employee as Dr. Michelle Bravo, a neurologist at its Miller School of Medicine. The paper...
Yeah, the difference is liberals are complying. That's true. That's true. That's a big difference. Right-wingers, when liberals demanded certain people get fired, right-wingers said, fuck you, it's called free speech, suck my fucking dick. Liberals, on the other hand, are so compliant, where right-wingers go, oh, how dare they say this? What the fuck? Liberals turn around and go, yes, sir, you're so right. I am so wrong. Fuck this person. Okay? There's no like, suck my dick. It's called free speech. Read a fucking book. There's none of that. That's why this environment is as cooked as it is, because liberals constantly fucking capitulate to the right, always, on everything.
Reporting the doctor's post, commented on Kirk's support for Israel. brought up children dying in Gaza, and finished by saying, quote, "The chickens have come home to roost."
Oh my God. Oh my God. The squirrel. This doctor was squirrel posting. What was done to Charlie Kirk has been done to countless Palestinian babies, children, girls, boys, women, and men, not just over the past 2 years of ongoing genocide, but decades. And whenever it happened, and it's on camera, and we all saw it, Charlie Kirk came out to say, I love this. I want more of this. The people who did this are great, and I love them, and they should keep doing it. As Malcolm said, the chickens have come home to roost. That's crazy. Isn't the saying it's called freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences that everyone kept saying? No, that's liberals say that when someone is yelled at. Okay, this is not someone getting yelled at. This is not someone just getting yelled at. This is someone actually getting fired from their job. Now, technically, this is not actually free speech anyway. I'm just saying that they should operate in the same way that like the right wingers do. Free speech is if the government starts taking initiative, which they are. They said that they are going to start taking the initiative and prosecuting political dissidents. Okay? But as far as like cancel culture goes, as far as like cancel culture and like demands for deplatforming, demands for firing people, that right wingers have always said, oh, free speech, suck my dick. And I'm saying maybe the fucking liberal institutions should do the same. If they wanted to. That's how the right did it for years and years. They were like, nope, suck my dick, it's free speech.
In its statement, the university writing, "Freedom of speech is a fundamental right. At the same time, expressions that condone or endorse violence or are incompatible with our policies and values are not acceptable." While the university did not name the employee, it has removed Dr. Bravo's faculty profile from its website. Also Saturday, Florida Atlantic University confirming that a tenured faculty member now on administrative leave.
Is a private company, why the double standard? Isn't there a choice? Why is there a double standard? Wait, do you not understand what I'm saying? I'm saying free speech, suck my dick is not the correct argument, but it is the successful one that the Republicans have applied for years and years and years. In this circumstance, I would expect the liberal institutions to also use the incorrect argument in the same way that the Republicans have for years and years and years whenever demands were made to fire Republicans. And if that actually ever happened, they would turn around and say, this is an attack on free speech. It was an incorrect argument, but I'm expecting the liberals to do the same thing. Okay? That's what I'm saying. They should. The problem is, ideologically, liberals are they're squishy. Okay? And they're also more open to conservative ways of thinking, which is precisely the reason why they capitulate in situations like this, while still trying to like maintain some sort of like moral high ground that doesn't fucking exist. And no, that's a private college. University of Miami is private. It's a private institution. It's not a state college. But regardless. I'm confused what you are. I'm a secret third thing. Stick around and find out.
The university president writing, "It became aware of multiple social media comments about Kirk's assassination, with an investigation now underway."
The FAU statement did not name that faculty member or say what their post was. We're live in Miami tonight. Byron Tollefson, Local 10 News.
There's people here today that don't like Israel. You're welcome up to the mic. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to try to take your free speech rights away. And I think all these bills that are trying to restrict speech, that are trying to, silence people, I think it's a big problem. I think that we need more pro-Israel advocates to do events like this, let everything be heard, and have a real discussion about it.
That's it.
Yeah. We need more pro-Israel advocates. By the way, he literally celebrated Mahmoud Khalil getting deported potentially. So, no, he was not a fucking fan of free speech. That's the other side of the story with right-wingers. They will argue on both sides of every single fucking situation, depending on who's the one advocating for it. Because like Donald Trump, in recent years, made a lot of changes to the way that Republicans present themselves, right? And these people who spent every waking moment, for example, arguing against trade policy that of the sort that Donald Trump is now advancing, trade protectionist policy, for example, they spent their entire careers actively saying that's communism, that's socialism, that's dangerous, that sucks. When Donald Trump did it, they had to turn around and find a way to defend it because they don't have real convictions in many instances. They just like are administration guys. They are the guys, they are the regime propagandists. That's it. Is it true he bussed people to the Capitol on January 6th? Yes, that is true. So did Nick Fuentes, by the way. Isn't that funny? All the prominent right-wingers have been involved with January 6th.
Amazing, thank you.
A Mariposa County High School staff member is under investigation, while a part-time faculty member at College of Sequoias is on administrative leave. Parents and students up and down the valley are blasting comments that seem to celebrate the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. They say they're inappropriate, no matter what your political beliefs are.
I don't know if this teacher should be fired, but I want us all to agree that no authority figure should be condoning political violence.
Multiple Mariposa County parents angrily addressed the school board during its monthly meeting Thursday.
A teacher who allegedly stated they were glad Charlie Kirk is dead and told MAGA kids to go home and cry.
Parents say there's no room for these comments in the classroom.
These comments send a harmful message that individuals who share Charlie Kirk's opinions or beliefs are somehow deserving of violence or death.
The Mariposa County Unified School District sent parents a statement this week and reads in part, "We are currently investigating a complaint involving alleged comments made by a Mariposa County high school staff member." Over in Tulare County, a College of Sequoia student took this video.
Yeah, I hope everyone in this family dies, and their children, and their grandchildren, and their grandchildren, and their grandchildren to eternity.
The student, who wants to remain anonymous, says prior to pulling out her phone, the teacher told the biology class that he watched the assassination of Kirk on loop for an hour.
I just was very disgusted. I couldn't even stay in the class. I walked out and I was just brought to tears because as someone that watched the video and saw how terrible it was, it just made me so uncomfortable to see that someone could say something like that.
She says this isn't the first time he shared his political view in class. The College of Sequoia sent us a statement saying the part-time faculty member was placed on administrative leave and a full-time employee has taken over the course.
The school districts are going to have to take a look at the contract and see if the contract was violated in some way.
Fresno-based legal analyst David Mugridge says whether these educators can be fired depends on multiple factors. If their contracts don't outline what they can or can't say in an educational setting, he says the school could relieve a teacher for disrupting the classroom. But he says there's little defense for...
Yeah, by the way, Mr. Free Speech Turning Point USA obviously had famously a professor's watch list, which caused many professors to be harassed and intimidated. Some lost their jobs. That's another thing that they used to do as well, for the professors not being pro right wing enough. They were just not Republican enough, and therefore they were bad and wrong and should be fired, or at the very least harassed. Okay. Rewind, the professor did some crazy stuff. What, this professor? What? Which professor? What is this?
High school staff member. Over in Tulare County, a College of Sequoia student took this video.
Yeah, I hope everyone in this family dies, and their children, and their grandchildren, and their grandchildren.
Okay, that's insane. Okay, that one's valid. That's a valid... Okay, that's not... I don't think that's a political take. You know what I mean? Wait, it goes longer?
And their grandchildren to eternity.
The student, who wants to remain anonymous, says...
Okay, that's crazy, dog. That's fine. You know what I mean? That's like, you can have that one. There's more?
Prior to pulling out her phone, the teacher told the biology class that he watched the assassination of Kirk on loop for an hour.
No. Fair. Hey, that one's fair. Hey, they're not all equal. I, contrary to my political opposition, am not going to sit here and act like that is a normal thing for a college professor or any professor to do. Okay? You are not real dark woke. Brother, that is something different. That's just dark, man. That's crazy. The other person was fired before this said, MAGA kids go home and cry about it.
This was very disgusted.
An hour. Dude, come on. That's just, that's something different. What did you think dark woke was? Sunshine, rainbows? No, I mean, that's like, I'm sorry. That's an insane thing to say, no matter who it is. Like, I'll be honest with you. If someone said that, regardless of the person's like political ideology or like the things that he's done, you could say that about like, I don't know, the assassination of Saddam Hussein or the footage of what's his face, Gaddafi for an hour, or even like fucking Hitler or Mussolini or something. I'd be like, that's weird, man. That's like, you got to get checked out. No, I'm serious. That's a wild thing to watch someone die on loop for an hour. Just says that there's something weird going on up here, regardless of who it is. It says more about you and not about your political leanings. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's true hate watching. I don't even know what that is.
Couldn't even stay in the class. I walked out and I was just brought to tears because as someone that watched the video and
yeah, he was trying to find the culprit. That's why he watched for an hour.
If their contracts don't outline what they can or can't say in an educational setting, he says the school could relieve a teacher for disrupting the classroom. But he says there's little defense for encouraging violence.
For me as a teacher to go into a classroom and suggest that somebody deserved to die and his family should likewise die all the way down to his dogs in his 10th generation, that's
I also think is like, well, not the generational one. That one is a fucking totally nutty take. But the thing that I also get annoyed by is like, I'm anti-fucking death penalty. And I know none of these motherfuckers are, but they all become, dude, watching right-wingers become anti-death penalty when it's someone, or anti-violence when it's someone that is a right-winger that is the victim of violence, or is kind of like watching right-wingers become prison abolitionists when Donald Trump was in the crosshairs of the justice system. It's like I've been this person. So when I say it, at least I have like a decent reason to say it, because it's just like fundamentally something I believe, right? Like when I say no one deserves this, I mean it, right? Like I mean that. Those motherfuckers don't mean it. They spent most of their life talking about exactly who deserves it. When they say no one deserves this, they actually mean, no, one of our guys don't deserve it. Your guys deserve it all the time. That's what's so fucking annoying. That's it. Yeah, like when J6ers were fucking became prison abolitionists. Ugh. Dude, I had a former coworker and friend say, so every time I feel tired, every time I feel discouraged or overwhelmed, I'm going to watch the video of a good man being murdered in Utah. I will force myself to watch it. And then I will return to the work of destroying the evil ideology responsible for that and so much more. Dude, conservatives have no skills in like the arts whatsoever until some shit like this happens. And then they all collectively start Sephiroth posting. What the fuck? I don't understand. Like they just whip themselves up into a fucking frenzy. Like, oh, I will take down the evil no matter how it strikes back. It strikes its ugly head. I will strike it down with the fire and fury of God. My justice will be vengeance. Like, Bro left college because of mask mandates, and I thought that was crazy at the time. Talking like Sasuke Uchiha. Yeah, bro.
Inciting violence, and I don't think any contract would protect somebody from saying that.
And of course, we'll follow this situation and see if those lead to any.
Yeah, they went fuck your feelings to like, what about, but not my feelings. My feelings are important. Woman fired for refusing to print the Charlie Kirk vigil poster.
We came in for an order earlier for a poster for a vigil tonight.
Yes.
That passed. It's not.
It's propaganda.
All right. So, what's your name? Supervisor.
I'm one of the managers. So, unfortunately.
So if they say they don't print political propaganda.
Dude, everything is Israel. Oh my God. I can't help but see it in every place I look at. I see everyone behaving like little Hasbara operatives, dude. Like immediately coming in to be like, ooh, well, where's the manager? Oh, you're the manager. Well, time to get fired. Oh, God. Yeah, they're doing no politic here. You see that? No politic here. Charlie Kirk, #1. Say you love Israel. Say you love Charlie Kirk.
So this is somebody that passed away a couple years ago.
That's political propaganda, unfortunately.
So this is for a prayer tonight, for a prayer vigil?
It's still propaganda, unfortunately. What makes it propaganda?
I think like role reversal, every liberal should be, they should be behaving like Republicans do. They should be like, this woman, this brave advocate refused. This brave advocate refused. She stood firmly, and on free speech grounds, she said, no politic here. Yeah, time for GoFundMes, which is so crazy because, like, on the right, motherfuckers get fired for being like, I'm a fascist and I love Nazi Germany. And then, or like saying the N-word at like an 8-year-old black child at a fucking park or something. And then they get hundreds of thousands of dollars in GoFundMe funds. Meanwhile, liberals are out here getting fired for being like, I don't want to fucking print that. I don't want to print the Charlie Kirk visual posters, man. That's like, I'm sorry. The equivalency, the balance is so out of whack. Like there's no symmetry to this process.
He's a political figure, and I don't have to.
Our general manager is going to be in on Monday. If you want to speak further on the subject,
Yeah, remember the gay wedding cake shit? The gay wedding cake debacle? Office Depot office manager responded to the incident, releasing a statement condoning the staff's actions.
We are deeply concerned by the incident that occurred at store 3382 in Portage, Michigan. The behavior displayed by our...
By the way, the guy said the person passed away a couple years ago, so I don't even know if this is actually, like, am I crazy?
For a vigil tonight?
Yes.
For somebody that passed? It's not,
It's propaganda. I'm sorry. We don't put that here.
All right, so so
I need to see
came in
this.
for an order earlier for.
He must have misspoke, though. It probably has to be Charlie Kirk, right? Because otherwise...
We immediately reached out to the customer to address their concerns and seek to fulfill their order to their satisfaction. We also launched an immediate internal review and, as a result, the associate involved is no longer with the organisation.
Yo, what's up with the fucking Aussies? So many Australian... Why is it always Australian news sources talking about, like, American cancellations and shit? Yeah, normally when a civil rights leader dies, their supporters spend days reciting their greatest quotes and preachings. So it's notable that the right has devoted the past 2 days to trying to get the Olive Garden waitresses fired for critical TikToks while avoiding his body of work. It's true. That's something I noticed as well. Why aren't people loudly and proudly talking about the things that Charlie Kirk was saying and the things that he was believing? Perhaps it's because right-wingers are also a little ashamed of their worldview. Like deep down inside, they kind of recognize that it's not the best. This is precisely the reason why I always say, look, I wouldn't say that I'm like I wouldn't say that I'm a communist, right? But I don't have any issue with that designation, right? I don't have any issue with that designation. I think that communism as a statesless, nationless, borderless, moneyless, classless society is fantastic. That's a great end goal. I'm totally on board with that. And I have no issue with that. Like, even if it's not something that I fully subscribe to, I understand directionally that is where I want society to move in the direction of. Directionally, right-wingers obviously can't subscribe to the reality that they want to move in the direction of, because let's be real, it's fucking fascist. That's what it is. Okay? That's what it is. So when someone correctly says, hey man, you sound a lot like a fascist, I go, whoa, hold on now. And I think there's a little bit of a shame, because it's so antithetical to human existence that they're just constantly trying to work through the steps and make themselves feel comfortable with this worldview, while simultaneously knowing full well that maybe it's a little too violent for other people to get on board with. Why don't you call yourself a communist? I mean, I don't really care about the designation, is what I'm saying. Don't get too caught up on that. For 3 hours, they try to run the Nazis of the left discourse. Wait, what? Sorry, but we don't print political science such bullshit. I printed this at Office Max last year. P. Diddy for Kamala. Wait, what? Wait. This is a bit of an own, don't you think? Anyway. YouGov shows Republicans' concern for political violence spikes when their own parties attack, rising between 20% to 26%, versus when Democrats are the victim. This is in clear contrast to Democrats, whose fear of political violence stays consistent regardless of victim ideology. I mean, wait, where the fuck? This is not the best graph. Am I crazy? How? Oh. Democrats at 53% during the Paul Pelosi attack. Republicans at 31% during the Paul Pelosi attack. Oh God, this is a fucking terrible graph with the red and the blue. Oh, this is a chart crime. Oh God, it fucked me up at first. No, the only reason why it's hard to understand is because they have Democrats and Republicans. Democrats and Republicans are both blue and red usually, okay? But they actually put blue to signify, like during the Paul Pelosi attack, 10/31/2022, Democrats are at 53% for political violence. Republicans, on the other hand, were at 31% for political violence. So technically, this blue actually doesn't. This blue is the Republican sentiment for political violence. This is absolutely a chart crime. I'm sorry. This is crazy. The color on the bars indicate which party was the victim of the shooting. No, I know. I got that. I understand. They should use a different color, though. Or at least like signified exactly where they should have signified when this was happening. Like they should have said underneath, like Paul Pelosi attack, or Donald Trump assassination. Do you understand what I mean? I haven't seen you in the past 2 days and got worried. Yeah, I'm here, chatter. I just was doing real life shit. All public universities should be required to have minimum 50% of their staff be conservative professors by spring 2026 in each department. Insane to see how the Kirk killing has exposed just total hypocrisy and double standards from the fine. They now support cancel culture over free speech. They say words cause harm. They oppose hate speech. And now they support affirmative action too. They want DEI. But they always did. They always did. My point is, they always wanted that. The whole DEI, the anti-DEI narrative is DEI. They just want DEI for white guys. That's always what it was throughout history. The only time where there has been real DEI in the way that Republicans presented is when it was for white men, okay? When women were not allowed in the workplace, white or black, doesn't matter. When black people were not allowed in the workplace, when brown people were not allowed in the workplace, that was white DEI in the actual way that they describe what DEI is, not like what diversity initiatives are seeking to address unironically. I'm saying like these guys only knew historically pro-white guy DEI, and therefore the entire DEI initiative that seeks to address that societal wrong is really frustrating for them. They want to go back to that. That's it. Yeah, the woke place. I said it wrong. I know. Shut up.
Following the news of Charlie Kirk's death, people around the country have been voicing their opinions on the shooting. Some people have been fired from their jobs after commenting on it. WRL's Willie Danley spoke to an attorney today about whether these terminations are legal and what employees need to know.
There's been a shooting tonight. Multiple people around the country have lost their jobs after commenting on the death of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. Victoria Kepis is an attorney practicing in North and South Carolina.
In North Carolina, most employees are at will. And that means that your employer can fire you at any time for any reason or no reason.
A Carolina Panthers communication coordinator was fired after allegedly posting an Instagram story saying, "Why are y'all sad? Your man said it was worth it," with a photo of Kirk. Soon after, the Panthers released a statement saying, "The views expressed by our employees are their own and do not represent those of the Carolina Panthers. We do not condone violence of any kind. We are taking this matter very seriously and have accordingly addressed it with the individual." In South Carolina, a similar situation. A Greenville teacher was let go after posting a quote-unquote inappropriate message on social media regarding Kirk's death. Kepis tells me it's best for employees to err on the side of caution.
Just be very conscious of what you're putting on your social media. Be aware that your employer is likely watching. And, the best course of action is to, remain private. And when I say remain private, I mean, don't post things public.
That doesn't even matter. People have lost their fucking positions for private correspondences too. Not even shit that they blasted publicly. And half of the stuff that they blasted publicly was not even like anything serious. You know what I mean? Like there's obviously good examples of why some people got fired. Like the person who was saying they watched the Charlie Kirk assassination in loop for an hour. That's psychotic, right? That has no place in the classroom. You know what I mean? Come on. But as far as like the Phoenix reporter being like, you guys don't give a shit when it's like children being murdered in Gaza. What the fuck is this shit? That person shouldn't have been fired at all. What the hell? That's insane that they're just like, how dare you? You are not sufficiently grieving Charlie Kirk is not grounds for termination by any standard. Are we sure that uni professor wasn't actually just King Von? Yes, it was King Von, the professor. It was Professor Von. Motherfuckers are getting fired for posting Charlie Kirk quotes. It's going to be really funny when someone who's actually a fan of Charlie Kirk posts his like choice quotes to be like, I love this guy. And then someone goes, that makes him look bad. Fuck you. You're fired. It's going to happen.
Publicly on the internet that might, upset your employment.
According to Kepis, there are exceptions that could give employees grounds to sue for wrongful termination. But more often than not, employers are within their rights.
For the most part.
Now that you're no longer debating Kirk, can you debate Fuentes instead? I know he's a Nazi, but I think it would be content. And you are both anti-Israel enough for different reasons. I'll see where the chips fall first, okay? Because I have had I will not debate Nazis position for quite a while. The problem here, however, is that if the Republicans actually hug and kiss, also this guy's name is the Grifter 132, maybe the Griffer. It entirely depends on where the Republicans move. If the administration chooses to fucking hug and kiss the Nazi, be a content homie. Okay, fuck yourself, please. Oh my God, be content homie. God, I fucking hate these losers, man. This isn't just content, man. This isn't content, you fucking dumbass. This is the problem. It's not just content. It's real, okay? These are real people that get harmed in the process. Okay? Isn't that the guy you were yelling at? Probably. Yeah. 10 years ago, if Charlie Kirk was like a random guy who had those opinions and they were not broadly positioned as the opinions of mainstream Republicans, there would be no reason to fucking debate him either. Okay? The problem here is like it's already ridiculous to debate Nazis because like what the fuck are we going to debate on? Whether black people are human beings just like everybody else is? Like that's not an issue for debate. That's not a point of contention. It's like debating a fucking flat earther, you know what I mean? They're going to bring up a million different fake bullshit talking points and already destroyed like race realist arguments and things of that nature. And you have to learn all of those fucking talking points. You have to learn all of that. You have to do all this like research on fake bullshit so you can actively combat it. It's the most annoying thing on the planet. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even fucking matter because any debate that you do with a Nazi is going to be a victory for the Nazi regardless because they just want to have talking time. They want to be on the spotlight. Okay? There's no benefit for the other person. The only time where you make an exception for something like that is if it's become so mainstream that you have to address these talking points. Okay? And it's not just content. You only say it's just content if you're white for the most part, if you're not a part of the fucking out group. The I don't debate Nazi talking point is bullshit anyway. You were going to debate Charlie Kirk? Yes, but there's a difference. Charlie Kirk was an advisor to Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk was a nationally prominent Republican. His opinions being so incredibly close to fascist opinions, if not, damn right the same, with some exceptions, doesn't change that reality. That's the whole point. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying, like, it's like talking to Stephen Miller, right? I'd debate Stephen Miller. I believe he's a Nazi. I'd still fucking debate him because he's Stephen fucking Miller. He's not some random guy on Rumble, okay? That's the difference. So that's why I say it depends on where the chips fall.
Part, I will say most employees, even if you have a contract, you're going to have still be in that at-will category.
Willie Danley, WRL News in Raleigh.
Pro-abortion students laugh at Charlie Kirk being fatally shot. University of Montana. This is the callous response of pro-choice students at the University of Montana when Kristen Hawk has told them Charlie Kirk had been shot. They're rage baiting, bro. They're literally, like, they're going up to people to be like, tell me right now what you feel about Charlie Kirk. Like, who cares? This is just so fucking irrelevant. They're just trying to actively farm outrage. These people are the Students for Life in America. They're trying to go up to people and be like, oh, dude, how do you feel? Oh, look how violent the left is. Look how violent and callous the left is. This is, I think, a good opportunity for liberals and leftists alike to take note of these tactics, okay? That's what they should do. And you're giving them free ammunition this entire stream? Like, what do you mean? God, Miss Riz. Never change.
On that 97%?
Yes.
Because I think there's...
Yes. Greg, come here. What? Greg, hold on for a second.
Abortion is oppression. Change my mind. Ugh.
Okay. Charlie Kirk was just shot at his campus in Utah. Why are you laughing? He is my friend.
I don't agree with anything. I don't think it's right to shoot him.
Your first reaction is to charge.
Oh my God, this is the video. They don't even fucking know if it's real. Shut the fuck up. Ugh. I'm done. I'm done watching all these motherfuckers get fucking ay ay ay. Upstate teacher no longer employed after lawmakers demand answer about Charlie Kirk. They're becoming the blue-haired liberal. I know. The problem is the blue-haired liberal never had motion like this. Okay? There wasn't a moment where like the White House was like, we're actively... Can you imagine a moment where the Democrats' very own White House, and we're not going to talk about COVID restrictions because of like epidemiology. That's a little bit different for mass health initiatives. But can you imagine a fucking moment where the White House was like, anybody, like a Brandon White House or an Obama White House was like, anybody that criticizes a black person that's been killed by the police is going to fucking get fired. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're never going to stop, and we're going to actively hunt you down. If you have any opinion that is not our opinion, we're going to fucking hunt you down. It's a war. It's a civil war. It's a war now, bitch. That's like that's unthinkable. Obama had no motion for BLM. Yeah, Obama was antagonistic towards Black Lives Matter when he was president. They saw it as a spoiler. He says the problem is on the left. It's not on the right. When you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burning all over the place. That's the left. That's not the right. Yeah, that's the only problem in this country is constitutionally protected acts such as burning the American flag.
Well, the problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left. That's not the right.
Yeah. This is the problem with the ownership of patriotism in America on the right, okay? This is a president that is unironically advocating against the First Amendment. Both of the things, like bad-mouthing America and burning the flag, are constitutionally protected acts in the United States of America. This is actually unique for this country as opposed to virtually every other country. I'm sure there's other countries where you can do like flag desecration or whatever, but in the United States of America, you can do that, okay? And it is constitutionally protected. So when a right-wing president says those are the real issues in this country, we have to tackle them, he's actually making an unconstitutional argument. He's making an argument against the American Constitution. But the way it works is that because these guys are seen as like owning patriotism and owning being proud of America, they can make that argument. Isn't it a legal flag code to burn the flag or dispose of its damage? Yeah, I know. That's semantics. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like desecrating the flag, okay? Don't do that. Desecrating the flag is highly illegal in many other countries, okay? I know this. In Turkey, there is a flag code that they do abide by. For the longest time, they wouldn't even let you fucking, like, there's no like Turkish flag underwear, for example. I'm sure there might be now. Maybe you can find some, but like, you can't do that. Like in the same way that you can put the American flag on your butt, okay? Or if you were to like pull down a Turkish flag in Turkey, they beat your fucking ass. I can't speak for other countries, but like if someone in Turkey were to burn a flag, they'd probably kill you. And I don't think it's right, but that's the culture and that's the, well, it's also a part of the reverence for the flag as well. It's like a more nationalistic thing that some countries do. Okay? Having said that, in America, we don't have those restrictions. Or if we do, we don't care about those restrictions. In Denmark, it's only legal to burn the Danish flag, but all others, it's illegal law. Wait, that's awesome. This motherfucker's name is Half Day Hassan, bro. That's crazy. I take a little bit of time out. And they got chatters with the name Half Day Hassan. Y'all don't deserve me, bro. I swear to God. Part-time piker. That's true. It's very clear that they're using this as a Reichstag file. If someone on the left had been killed the same way, you know, for a fact, no right-wing pundits would show this much understanding and grace. Whether you like Hassan or not, it's just a fact. Half day gone but not forgotten. Okay. There was some other stuff that I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah, we already covered this. Elon Musk has been like actively trying to get me banned off Twitch. And I feel like as the wealthiest motherfucker on the planet, he should probably, you know, spend his time elsewhere. But nope. Just wondering if Amazon thinks it's okay to pay to promote someone. He's paid by Twitch and Amazon who makes repeated calls for murder. I've been wondering that too, says Lolicon Avatar Chibi Reviews. There's a lot of documented evidence of what Hassan has been doing for a long time now. Thank you for calling this out. Isn't this like a CP advocate? I don't know anything about this person. Jamel Bowie from the New York Times had a very good take. Oh yeah, this was good.
On the Charlie Kirk shooting before I move on to other topics on this page in these videos. And that is this question of what explains the rush to canonization among political commentators of many stripes in the wake of this killing, before we had any information about the shooter.
Outside of Jamel Bowie sometimes will just have a fucking banger take, okay? As long as it's not like Bernie related or, you know, Israel Palestine related, stuff like that. Like this is right in the pocket, right in the wheelhouse.
Or the motive or anything. This immediate rush to present Kirk as an exemplar of good faith discussion and dialogue. This immediate rush to treat him as something akin to a national hero. And I understand he was beloved by many millions of people. It was a figure who had wide influence, but I'm not sure that rushing to treat him again as a national hero, there was a suggestion to have him lie in state in the Capitol, is necessarily appropriate, given the substance of his views. But I have a couple thoughts about this, about what explains it. The first thought is just fear, right? Kirk was doing something that a lot of us do, a lot of us in the business do, go to college campuses, speak to audiences, have discussions, occasionally debates. He was killed doing something that a lot of us do. And so I think a lot of commentators can see themselves in that scenario, and it scares them quite a bit. I think related to that is a certain amount of class solidarity among many of America's professional political commentators. It's been striking.
He's not wrong. He's right. I mean, I said this as well. He's not wrong. It's true. For a lot of pundits, for a lot of commentators, I would say I'm at least the exception, with the exception of Jamel Bowie as well, that recognizes that and openly says that. I said it. I told you I'm fucking way too close to this. That hasn't stopped me from offering an honest assessment of his work. But I think a lot of people who obviously don't give a fuck about his output, you know, no, the problem here is a lot of commentary people, a lot of pundits, a lot of people who wrote about his legacy and stuff that straight up fucking whitewashed it, don't give a shit that he was like running around being like MLK's a bad dude. You know what I mean? Like they don't get impacted in the same way. For them, fascism is just simply a nuisance. It's a aesthetic difference. Okay? If you're black, it's not a fucking aesthetic difference. If you're brown, if you care about black or brown people, if you care about trans people, if you care about undocumented migrants, if you yourself are an undocumented migrant, if you are a part of any of the oppressed subcategories that we're talking about, for you, it's real. For you, you're like, what the fuck? You're just saying this guy's awesome? What do you mean this guy's awesome? He was not so awesome when I heard him. Have you not heard his takes? That's the question that is on everyone's mind when they see liberals fucking say this shit. When they go, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? I've heard his takes. Have you not heard his takes? Where are you coming from with this? So for them, when they say like he was great, you know, we had disagreements, but he was a great guy. He was just trying to do debates. He was trying to do debates, blah, 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 all this shit. Like when they say that, it comes across like either they're endorsing the statements, and even if they're not endorsing the statements, they simply are not impacted by said statements if normalized and if turned into, policy, which, by the way, it is right now. I mean, he was literally a close advisor to the Trump administration.
Continue to read various people reflect on the relationship to Kirk and discover that all kinds of figures on the political spectrum chatted with him on a regular basis in group chats and texts and green rooms and that sort of thing. So
okay, I wouldn't agree with that part. That's not for me.
I'd say. But one thing I do think is going on, especially among liberal media elites, is a sense that Kirk represented something authentic in the population, in the public, that they simply don't. I think there's a certain amount of embarrassment among a lot of professional liberals who do not see themselves as representing any kind of authentic grassroots tendency in the American public.
Oof.
They believe that about conservatism, however, and so I think there's a tendency to defer to representatives of conservatism as somehow representing the broad public in ways.
Oof. He's right. Liberals do not have a real grassroots initiative. Ain't nobody is out here. And it's the monoculture. And I think that's part of the reason why there is no like real grassroots initiative to be like, keep things just the same, right? That's what happens when you dominate. That's what happens when you win. But also, as it stands, there is no motherfucker out there that is like, I am an abundist, okay? The only motherfuckers that are abundists, which is now the newest expression of like liberalism, are people who are either being paid to say that or people who have done too much Reddit, okay? And that is not a real movement. Abundists, like people who believe in abundance, like the Ezra Klein, Derek Thompson stuff. Do you not get what I'm saying here, chatters? Like, there is no real, like, class expression. There's no real class outrage. There's no real grassroots initiative that's backing like liberalism, especially mainstream liberalism in the way that we see it currently. There is, however, an equivalence on the left flank of American politics. It's just one that isn't oftentimes reflected on in positive terms by establishment liberals because it is antagonistic to establishment liberalism, which is leftism, populist, leftist, economic policies. People running around being like, I want healthcare, man. Shut the fuck up. Just give me healthcare. That's a real movement. There's real people out there that want it. Okay? Will you give to the Kaizenat subathon to keep the stream alive? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Are you crazy?
Liberals simply can't. I think that's wrong. And maybe later I'll explain why I think that's wrong and why I think that perspective is quite harmful.
I think he's doing well on his own, but respect to you, chatter.
Especially in the present moment. But I think that's an element of it as well. A lot of psychological things happening here. And there is a sincere, condemnation of violence. I think there's this other stuff going on as well.
Okay. U.S. Attorney Habba, flags were ordered to be lowered by the President of the United States. Lower your flags. Bro, get the fuck out of here. These people are, they're out of their minds, man. I really hope this heavy-handed approach is at least causing some people to look differently. You know? I really, really, really hope.
People don't like me, you know. Smart people don't like me, you know. And they don't like what we talk about. Smart people don't.
Okay, this got to be clipped weird, right? I mean, it's true. Smart people don't like them. That is true. Most people don't like them. Oh, speaking of flags being raised at half-mast, dude. Can someone tell me if this is real or not? I need to see if WeHo actually did that. Wait, West Hollywood responds to controversy following lowering of flags to half-staff in memory of Charlie Kirk. The city of West Hollywood released an official statement following the controversy over its decision to lower flags to half-staff in memory of right-wing political commentator Charlie Kirk. Community members expressed outrage, particularly over the lowering of the transgender flag and progress flag at Matthew Shepard Square. Oh my God, it's real. I thought it was like maybe a parody. By the authority vested in me as the President of the United States, by the Constitution and the blah, 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 that's like his statement. In a statement, the city of West Hollywood clarified that the action should not be interpreted as an expression of alignment with or endorsement of Kirk's political views or actions. The action was undertaken in accordance with the city's policy for recognitions and memorials, which acknowledges that the city follows the direction of the president in determining when flags in the city are flown at half-staff. It is real. That's crazy, bro. That's fucking insane. Yeah, I saw West Hollywood, WeHo City, lowering their pride flags to half-mast to honor racist, homophobic, transphobic podcast host who spent his life organizing this generation's Nazi youth. Shameful, bizarre, and embarrassing. Yeah, I saw Gitmo McDonald's. Flags were lowered last night by order of the President Trump after the killing of Charlie Kirk and will stay at half-staff on this base in Southeast Cuba until sunset on Sunday. A proper American send-off where McDonald's lowers their flag at torture prison Guantanamo for you. I know the Choppa Boys use their dabbing on us when they talk about like how hard they flex about their pedophile connections, like to Jeffrey Epstein specifically. But I also see this as like them dabbing on us. You know what I mean? Where they're like, you're gonna have to fucking grieve and you're gonna have to do it publicly. And if you don't, you will get fired. And if I don't see you fucking crying, okay, I'm going to come and do something to you, okay? Just watch. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like they're just, like, what is this? If anything but they're dabbing on us. is so crazy, man. Oh, they were saying the same thing for this too? I thought they were saying it for Jeffrey Epstein. They're basically flexing. Like they're like, hey, oh, you don't like it? You don't like it? You don't want to honor this guy? Fuck you. You have to.
Have you asked to start revoking the visas of the foreigners who have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death?
No, we haven't, but we are looking at names.
Yeah, by the way, where's that chatter that was saying earlier, oh, it's just the president saying it. It's not that significant. It's like, no, they are. They're actually revoking the visa of people. They're looking to deport people if they don't sufficiently express grief or show enough sorrow about the president's favorite podcaster being killed. Please, man, this is what we say is happening in North Korea, dude. Like, this is literally what Americans fantasize is happening in North Korea. Okay? What the fuck?
We don't like that. That's not right. We wouldn't celebrate if something happened on their side, and we don't.
That's fucking so not true. A lot of people that are on the left are already under investigation. What?
You know, they're already under major investigation. A lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left.
They're already under investigation?
Already under investigation.
What does that mean? Like, for what? An expression of discontent with the administration? Correctly calling certain initiatives fascist when they are fascist? Like, what are we talking about? What is this?
Alrighty, this message is for President Trump and his administration. If you stay to watch the video, please tag him down below, share, and repost so we can try to get this to him as quickly as possible and hope that he can do something with this. President Trump, as a supporter who voted for you 3 times, I am hoping and praying that you will revisit what Barack Obama and Joe Biden got rid of back in 2013, which is the Smith-Mundt Act, which held news corporations accountable for lying to the American people and spreading propaganda instead of truth.
Bro, people with tongue rings vote MAGA? Also, how old was she in 2016? Like, I don't understand. Y'alternate is real? Bro, she has the poly look. How is that possible? I don't understand how you can look like you're poly and then be like, I love you, Mr. President. Like, this is warping my consciousness, bro. If you look like you're in a polyamorous relationship, sometimes experiencing bouts of ethical non-monogamy, okay, you can't be out here being like, I love Trump. I love the President Trump. He is the best president. What the fuck? Nah, this is the trailer park aesthetic. You aren't a Marabou enough. Careful, she's gonna sick Trump on you now, bro. Apparently, Trump has already been sicked on me.
You know, they're already under major investigation. A lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left.
They're already under investigation?
Already under investigation.
Like, what do you mean? Apparently, I've been sicked on. Ugh. Trump gonna taco? I hope.
Is not.
Wait, what? Oh, in Iowa, Senator Chris Van Hollen, one of my new faves, low key, criticized New York members of Congress who haven't endorsed Zohran Mamdani's candidacy for New York City mayor. This kind of spineless politics is what people are sick of, he says. They need to get behind him and get behind him now.
Going to fix itself by itself. It's up to all of us. It's up to all of you. We need to start now shaping the future. That means winning the key races of 2025 by supporting our terrific Democratic nominees for governor in Virginia and New Jersey. It means in 2025. And it means supporting our Democratic nominee in New York City's mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani. He is focused on ensuring that people can afford to live in the place that they work. That should be our goal in New York City, Des Moines, and every town and city and place across the United States of America. Donald Trump and New York's financial elites see that as a threat. The idea that everybody who works in New York City should be able to afford to live in New York City. And they have mobilized to defeat him. Yet, many Democratic members of the Senate and House representing New York have stayed on the sidelines. That kind of spineless politics is what people are sick of. They need to get behind him and get behind him now.
Anyway, two different